Oh, that's where we see we go live. The little live button on the top of the screen.
That's helpful.
Hey, if you are with us live, hello. Let us know you're here because to us, we're currently speaking to an empty room. So if you're jumping on right now, let us know in the comments that we're not shouting into the abyss because
Andrew is live.
Andrew's here.
Thanks,
Woo!
Andrew. All right, let's go.
We're gonna get into real introductions in like 30 more seconds.
Okay.
But let's just ramble on for another, I don't know, minute. I'll sip this tea.
Amy's getting married on Friday.
Yeah.
Random fact.
Big week. Big week.
Really big week. I'm super excited. And we also decided to do a presentation this week. And,
you know, because we can do that. So, all right, guys, we're gonna start to jump in, and I'm currently juggling our two monitors to do this well. So thank you for joining us for our presentation on 5 steps to save time and make more money on social media, because who doesn't want to do those two things? If that's you, you should probably not be watching this. But if that is you, let us know in the comments. We're huge on interaction, and I'll get to that in a minute, the why, but we're big on engagement. So let us know in the comments if you're excited to learn how to save time and make more money on social media. All right, guys, let us jump in. I am Amy, and as you can see, Amy Brooks, soon to be Amy Klein. Brooks will be obsolete in about 3 days.
No big deal.
And then this is my partner, Morgan.
Okay.
Morgan and I started Content on Draft back in 2018. We are a digital marketing firm with a craft beverage focus. And let's be honest, we chose this focus because this industry is amazing. Morgan's a malt to my hops. We balance each other out, and we create winning strategies for our clients that engage their followers and help them to grow their customer base. So like I said a little bit earlier, and if you're just tuning in now, we are huge on engagement because we are here to give you information that you can actually use. So the only way we know if you are actually connecting with this information is if you tell us. We want to make sure we're on track. We're not here just to talk into the abyss. So as we're talking, we're going to invite you guys to engage throughout this presentation. But if you have any questions or comments that you want to add, throw them in the comments. I'm thinking that there's probably going to be a little bit of a lag time, so we might not get to them in the middle of the presentation. We'll get to them at the end of the Q&A. So we're going to jump right in. So we, as a company, Content on Draft, believe that a lot of craft beer breweries have great close-knit teams. So while we do some social media management, our main focus is on helping give the people who are already working at your brewery the tools that they need to grow your social media profiles and convert your followers into customers. And this is true no matter how many hats your employees wear, because let's be honest, they probably wear a lot, just like the owners. So this means that we want to show you how to save time on your day-to-day marketing while also bringing in revenue from your efforts. All right. Remember, I mentioned we're going to ask for engagement. So we introduced ourselves. We would love it if you would introduce yourself. If you're with us live, comment live. Tell us where you're tuning in from and what your spot is in the craft beer industry. And if you're on the replay, awesome. Thanks for joining us on the replay. Comment replay and tell us the same thing.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about how to save time and make more money on social media. If you're a note taker, like me and her,
and also me,
screenshot this slide because it's an overview about the steps and what we're going to be talking about. So social media is a must for breweries, and being active on social media just isn't enough because everyone's on social media. So you need to stand out. And if you want to convert your followers into paying customers, you need a game plan. This presentation is for you if you're posting at the last minute or just to get something online. No shame. We've all been there. It happens. But it's also for you if you feel like you're spending too much time posting when you could be spending more time on other tasks. And it also is helpful if you've tried to make money from your social media but haven't seen results yet. And this is going to apply to a variety of different people. So whether you're posting, your tapper manager is posting, your social media manager is posting, or multiple team members are posting, this is going to be valuable in any of those scenarios. And if you don't have the budget to hire a full-time person or an agency, this can still help, because this is not just about day-to-day. This is about long-term strategy. And like Amy said, we're going to be asking you to engage. So I want to know, who does the posting for your brewery? Let me know in the comments right now.
Yes. Well, I changed to the next slide and figure out these screens. Awesome. All right, guys. I talked to myself. Okay, so let us jump in. Just so that you guys know, because our eyes are in all sorts of weird places, our screen that we're sharing with you is up. So if we're looking up, that's why. We're not looking over your heads. Anyways, we're going to talk about step 1, which is analyzing your current online presence and your marketing strategy. We got to start by giving ourselves a baseline. If you want a solid baseline, you can't just go off about what you feel about your accounts. You need to look at it objectively, and that means getting into the numbers. Let me give you a quick example, because this is actually something that's happened to both of us a couple of times. So we will be talking to a brewery, and we'll say, we'll go through a lot of stuff and we'll be like, okay, cool, what's your engagement rate? And as weird as it is, everybody always is like, I'm not really 100% sure, but I think it's 10%. And because we know the average engagement rate on Facebook and Instagram is actually below 5%, when somebody says that their engagement rate right off the bat is 10%, we're like, oh, cool, let's check that. Skeptical. A little skeptical. So we give them the tools that they need to calculate it for real. It's not as comprehensive as what we do for our customers, but it's enough that they can kind of like get a feel. I shouldn't say feel, because I just said don't go off what you feel, but they can get a good, solid, concrete idea of where they are based on the numbers from their actual account. And as strange as this sounds, in the times that we've done that and somebody has come back and said 10%, it's happened multiple times where their engagement was actually less than 1% on both platforms. And so that tells us that even though they felt like they were doing really good, they were based solely off feeling, they were missing the mark. So again, this happened a couple times, similar results. And the point is, you can feel like you're doing well on social media, but that doesn't mean that you're doing well for sure. You need to look to the numbers so you can be certain. But I want to talk about another thing, and that's benchmark brands. Benchmark brands are brands that could be in the craft beverage industry, might be in another industry, who you look to and admire, who are doing good on social media. It could be somebody who's just a little bit above you, and it could be somebody who's a bit of a reach. In fact, we suggest that you have benchmark brands that are both, because you can look at them and kind of help look at what they're doing to gauge what you're doing. Because you don't have access to their back end, you're not going to be able to get as solid quantitative data from them, but that's okay. You can use qualitative data instead. When Morgan and I do a brand audit, we include both. So the qualitative data from the benchmark brands, as well as quantitative data as best we can get from them, and as certain as we can get from our clients. So when it comes to doing that, the biggest thing is that you need to look at it objectively. We can look at a brewery's account objectively, obviously, because we're on the outside. We're not pouring our heart and soul into every post, just like you guys are. So even if our observations aren't as grounded in the qualitative data, we are able to look at it using our experience and using our outside point of view to get good qualitative assessments. Now, okay, cool, that's great. How does this work for you? If you want to do the same for yourself, you need to kind of pull yourself out of it and put yourself in an objective point of view. Look at it as though you don't manage the accounts and give yourself some constructive criticism, because that will help you move pretty far. So this step gives you an objective view of your accounts so that you can create a solid plan of action in your next steps. All right, guys, we want to know in the comments right now, have you guys tracked your data? Do you have a spreadsheet? Do you track it somewhere else? If you do, let us know where and how often. And if you don't, let us know if you want some info to get started.
All right, so the next step is reviewing results and creating an action plan. So like Amy mentioned, it's not about how you feel, it's about the actual numbers. And now that you have them, you can set some real goals. And start by thinking about where you are now and then where you want to be. Because if you want to succeed on social media, you need to set specific goals. And as you're setting goals, think about why you're setting them. Like really take some time to do this. What does accomplishing these goals mean for your brewery? Does it mean you can open a new location? Does it mean you can hire back staff? What does it mean for your staff? Does it mean they have more time to do other things? They're not as stressed out. And what does it mean for you? Like maybe you can step away and take that vacation you've always wanted to.
Oh,
I know I mentioned the V word, and that is like not super popular in this crazy industry, but everyone needs time off, and having a good strategy is one of the ways you can actually achieve that. So like I said, attach some meaning to your goals because it's really powerful. And once you have these goals, you can identify the steps you need to take to reach them. I'll give you one example. Say your goal is to grow your customer base. So if that's one of your goals, you need a plan to get more people to see your posts. And the metric here you want to focus on is engagement rate, one of our favorite metrics. Because if you have a higher engagement rate, the algorithms are going to show your posts to more people. And here's like a numbers example for anyone who's good with numbers. I did easy math because I'm not. If your current engagement rate is 2% and you have 10,000 followers, this means only 200 of them are engaging with your posts. So you want to increase that engagement rate. And if you want to do that, you need a strategy. And a lot of people get confused about what an engagement strategy is. So I'm going to say what it isn't. A lot of people like to spend too much time engaging with people in the wrong ways. And this is when you're speed liking, engagement pods, quick growth strategies. You're going to see those results initially, but it's not going to get you to most of your goals. But if you have a set engagement strategy, you can use your time more effectively and really build an audience of people who want to support your brewery. Because when you grow your group of possible customers, you can increase your bottom line. And that's one of the reasons we're here today, is talking about making more money from social media. And here's how it works. If you increase your engagement rate from 2% to 5%, you have 300 more chances to convert your followers into paying customers. Again, this is just one example. And that example is growing your customer base. But every brewery has different goals. So you really should create an action plan for each of your goals. And I want to know, what's one specific goal you have for your brewery? Share it in the comments with us.
Awesome. So now we are on to debatably my favorite step, and maybe Morgan's too. Yeah, probably Morgan's too. Okay. So I love this partially because I love strategy and partially because this is where the magic really happens and where you're going to unlock the things that are really going to make a difference on your social media profiles and with getting that money. So actually, what's on the slide, there's no way I could fit all of the bullets for this on one slide. So again, if you're a note taker like me or Morgan, screenshot this, save it for later, and follow along with what I'm saying. One of the reasons why this step is so important is because it defines how your brand is going to show up on social media. If you've paid someone to make a logo for you, you've likely they've likely also given you brand guidelines. When you use them, you know that your brand will stay visually consistent and recognizable. It's how your brand shows up visually for your customers. So it's similar with your social media identity. When you create your social media guidelines, people can start to look at your brand like it's one uniform entity, and it makes it easier for people to build a relationship with your brewery. They can get to know, like, and trust your business. And as you know, those are the 3 things that lead to sales. So another big component of this is going to be your brand guidelines. This is going to help you stay consistent, create platform-specific content, write down best practices for posting. And finally, my favorite part of my favorite slide, the strategy. Strategies include ways to increase engagement, drive sales, promote events, and more. When you're creating these strategies, you need to make sure that they're all working together. When executed properly, you'll have a style guide that shows you how each action you take on social media works together to drive you towards your goals. All right, so now we want to know, does anyone have any written guidelines for social media, like any at all? Think of them like SOPs for posting, engaging, whatever. If you do, let us know in the comments. If you don't, let us know that you don't have them yet.
So step number 4 is executing these new guidelines. And this is a super important step because you have your roadmap to success. Now it's time to follow it. When you have a style guide, you'll spend less time posting on social media. This can honestly add up to multiple hours per week. And we've seen it. It's not just a random fact we're pulling at you, like it's real. And it also means that your posts will be more effective because you'll be reaching and engaging more people. And you'll start attracting an audience instead of chasing one. And that's really a huge turn of events. So now that you have these guidelines, you and your team can work together more effectively and efficiently. This means instead of scrambling to post the day of, you have the content scheduled in advance. Weird concept, but it makes life easier. And since you're planning ahead, you can be more strategic about your posts. So you can create those purposeful posts in batches. You're not just coming up with random beer pick and other random beer pick. You're creating content that brings you towards your goals, that your audience wants to see, and you're building connections.
Good deal.
So here's an example that people seem to ask about a lot, beer releases. You likely have your brew schedule and all of that figured out, but do you have your marketing plan behind it? When you have guidelines to promote a beer release, you'll know what to post the day of, the days before, even the weeks before, months for some.
Bloggers.
Yeah. And having this game plan can help your release go more smoothly. And if you've ever wondered what the people with lines leading up to their releases are doing right, it's most likely this. And when you have these guidelines in place, the really cool part is you can teach anyone on your team to help carry them out. So this means if you can't add another person to your payroll, you don't have to. You have a style guide, you can invest in the people you already have, and it'll keep everyone on the same page. So this means if you're out of town, you're going on vacation, whatever you're doing, your taproom manager or other team member can take over posting while still maintaining that branded style that your followers are looking for. So here's what I want to know this time is, if the person who typically posts for you goes out of town, what happens? Who takes over posting? Let us know in the comments because we're curious.
Yes, very curious. Because relatable. All right, guys. Step 5. Honestly, a step that people tend to forget about because people really, really, really want to do steps 1 through 4 and then call it a day. And honestly, I wish this was the case, but the thing about marketing is that there are a lot of tests involved. There is a lot of testing involved. And this helps you make sure that you're on the right track. I'm like a hand talker, but like right on you.
Yeah.
It's very Italian of me. I'll do one hand.
I'm doing this hand.
Oh, okay, cool. So anyways, if you're looking at this step and thinking about how it sounds like it takes more time than it saves, I want you to think about this. How much time are you going to lose if you don't keep track of the numbers and you end up going in the wrong direction? If you don't have any plan to keep you on track, then what you're posting might not help you reach your goals. And then how much time have you spent doing the wrong stuff? It's not helping you. And if you go off on the wrong direction, you could be leaving money on the table, or worse, because if you're paying someone to post for you, then you could be losing money if you're going off in the wrong direction and you're paying their time. So here's what we suggest. Make a spreadsheet.
My favorite part.
Her favorite, yeah, not my favorite part, her favorite part. Yes. It was go together. So make a spreadsheet and add to it at least once a week. Morgan and I have created them for our clients, and it does all the calculations for them, so it's real quick. So you can make something like that. Then once a month, look at your data and use it to tweak your strategy. And along the way, you can perform little tests. But if I go off on that tangent right now, which I'm about to, we'll never finish this. But you can ask me about that later. So my Grandpa Minio's favorite saying is, find out what you want. Find out what they want and how they want it and give it to them just that way. And essentially, that's what's happening here. When you're looking at your data, you're listening to what your customers are telling you they want, and that's just good business. So who here can relate to that? Does anybody have feedback cards or any way for people at your brewery in your tasting room to give you feedback about service or anything like that? Let us know in the comments, because we'd love to see what you guys are already doing, because this is kind of like that. It's just kicking it up a notch.
All right, so here is part one of why you're here today. We've outlined these steps, and now I'm going to talk about how following them can save your brewery time. When you have a style guide, best practices become second nature. And you don't have to constantly research every single time you're posting, because you have a resource with it all laid out. Plus, if the content you're currently sharing isn't connecting with your followers, you're wasting your time and honestly their time, because not listening to your audience is one of the easiest ways to lose their attention, get unfollows, and just lose that engagement. So if you're creating content your followers care about, you're investing your time more effectively. So it saves you time in the long run and helps you reach your goals. So here now I want to talk about batch scheduling, because it's something that's a lot easier with a style guide. And it's a major time saver when it's done right. When you're in the zone, thinking of the most clever captions, taking awesome photos, you create content more quickly. But if you're constantly shifting gears, picking up and putting down tasks, you end up wasting your time. You end up opening the same apps over and over again, looking for hashtags, uploading photos. It adds up. So this is one way to save you time, batch scheduling. All right, the next part is like super relatable. We've been there. Raise your hand if you've ever been stressed out by posting. You just really want me to do that.
No, I did. I don't know if you can see my whole hand at the screen, but it's me.
So same. Creating content under a time crunch takes longer. So why not skip the stress? Because when you have a plan, you and your team can take more time to focus on the day-to-day operations. And here's a question I want to know. What would you do with a few extra hours every week if you weren't spending so much time on social media? Let us know in the comments. And the reason we're asking this is because since you're saving time posting, you'll have more time to do whatever you said in the comments. And you'll have more time to spend interacting and engaging with your audience. And that's where conversions happen. And Amy's going to talk about that.
Woohoo, conversions. Money in the bank. All right. So first off, I want to tell you, if you are following best practices on social media, and yes, that does include tracking your data, adjusting it, tweaking it, listening to your customers, all of that stuff. If you are following those things, you are going to reach your goals. You just are. It's just going to happen. It's really, just a matter of time. So if one of your goals are to drive sales, then as long as you listen to your followers, you're going to get there. But let me also put it this way for you. If you're not implementing this, you might be posting once a day. Each day you have to figure out what to post, pour a beer, take a picture, actually post it, maybe get someone to edit it before you do, all of that kind of stuff. And that's not even guaranteeing that what you're posting is actually going to move you towards your goals or work with your other posts in a way that does move you towards your goals. But what if you knew you had an event coming up? And according to your strategy, you need 10 posts to promote it. You wrote up a quick shot list that's based off your strategy again, and you pour 3 beers, and you use different props, different areas of your tasting room to take 10 different pictures. Now, instead of spending time each day conceptualizing a post, pouring a beer, taking a picture, drafting a post, you're doing it all at once. This is a real life example. I'm not pulling these numbers out of nowhere. This is a real life example.
True story.
Because back before I started doing this, back in the day, I would go through 10 beers for 10 posts over 10 days, and I'd spend 5 to 10 hours on it. And then I switched things up, and I used 3 beers in one day over the course of 1 to 2 hours. It saved money on product, and it saved money on the labor cost. The best part is that it does all of that while actually making your business more money because your content is thoughtful and strategic and designed to do just that. Yay, money. So let's not forget one of the most important parts, which is converting your followers into customers. If you're just posting and hoping for customers, like every single day, here's a beer, here's some food, come get it. Here's a different beer, here's some other food, come get it. If that is your current posting, dare I call it a strategy, you're probably not going to get a lot of customers from that. If you're just hoping. But if you're working on strategies to create communities around your brand and you're including posts that encourage them to purchase, then you're going to see your customer base grow. Just remember, people like to buy from companies that they identify with. So posting to social media isn't all about advertising. You need to make friends too. All right, guys. So we literally do this all the time. So we know a lot more about this than what we've even already said. So hit us with your questions. I'm going to try to bump over to StreamYard. You have Facebook. Let's go over to Facebook. Morgan's going to go to Facebook on her thing. Oh, here. I was in the private chat. Here's the comments.
Oh,
see?
there you
Boom.
go.
Oh, hello. Kaylee from Michigan. Wearer of all hats at Presidential Brewing Company. Awesome. Hello, Shannon. And hello, Facebook users, because I can't see their names.
Working on it.
Morgan's going to go be the... Actually, this is going to be weird because I'm going to see
Our faces.
our faces.
Okay,
Oh, there's our
there
faces.
we go. Oh, hey, Nick. He said those guys are fantastic. We'll catch this later.
Oh, awesome. So, looks like we don't have any questions. I hope that means that we thoroughly explained everything and not that we glossed it over. If you're catching this on the replay and you want to add some questions in there, I will be at my wedding, but Morgan will be available to come back and look at your questions and answer them. So thank you guys. Wait, we have a question from
We have a question. We did a brew fest over the weekend, and we never answered this question on there.
Oh, no.
So let's answer it today. It says, what are your suggestions for making your Instagram posts more interesting and engaging beyond static product shots?
All right. We can go about this forever. So watch us take some time. No, seriously, one of the biggest things that we have noticed kind of universally is that if you add faces and people and humans
or dogs,
yeah, or dogs,
or
cats, or goats. Goats did really well. Also llamas, just animals. So if you can add animals, humans, whatever, those types of things are going to make your pictures more interesting. And honestly, faces stop the scroll. They get people to look twice.
And I would say too, like, you can take product shots, but style them differently. We love portrait mode, but if every single post is your beer in portrait mode with the bar behind it, people get bored. Like, you can show off your flavor profiles, you can have someone holding the beer, you can showcase, like, if you work with a cider maker and you have their stuff on tap, like, switch it up, try different angles, keep it interesting, because the same photo over and over isn't fun.
No, it's not. Even, and honestly, kind of going off of that, even if it's just like person holding beer, person holding beer, person holding beer, that's also not fun.
Yeah. Add a dog holding beer.
Oh, Kaylee took some llama selfies. There you go, Kaylee.
Okay, I need to see those, please.
Yes, please.
Please throw them in there.
Janice, can you share any examples of your work? Yes, honestly, the best place to go is actually going to be our Facebook or Instagram, because that's kind of where we're controlling all of the aspects. So it kind of gives the best showing, I guess, of what we do.
Yeah.
If you go to Content on Draft on Facebook, or if you go to @Content on Draft on Instagram, those will give you probably the best examples there.
And then also in terms of strategy, if you have specific questions for us, we can share that via Messenger.
Yeah. We have, so I guess the biggest thing about our work is, like we said, we like to teach people how to do this so that they can kind of invest in the people they already have. One of the best things ever, we love to hear people talk about, like, oh, I want to do this. I want to step up the social media game. I'm going to use a specific example. We worked with a business who wanted to get better on Instagram so that they could, make more money in order to hire their marketing manager as a full-time person. It had to wear some more hats than just marketing manager, but that was really fun to hear that. So, like, we're not coming in and always, although we do social media management, we're not always trying to just take over. We like to teach you and your staff how to kind of do what we do. So we create these style guides, and we audit and create style guides in order to help you with that. So the best example of our work might be our social media profile pages, but it's also like this large style guide book that is literally a step-by-step where you could flip to the different pages of when it's time to post something, for the strategies, for the way to do it. You can't share a photo in the comments. All right, Kaylee, you should, and maybe we could talk about this right now, but you should join our Customers on Draft a group. We'll talk about that now.
So we have our own private Facebook group, Customers on Draft, and we actually started it after we spoke at the first conference that Andrew organized, because we realized there was a lot of people who wanted to talk marketing and beer. And so we created a group where you can do just that. And we have a variety of different people in there that are owners, taproom managers, not necessarily social media people like us, but they have social media questions. And we do video trainings in there. People post their own questions. It's really a community for people who want to talk beer marketing.
Yes. So Morgan, maybe after we sign off, you can throw a link in the comments.
I can do that.
Awesome.
I'm taking over.
Sure, yes, for the next week. Oh, Janice, when should we begin on social media, brewery and planning? Plan late spring 2021 opening.
Congrats.
Yes, congrats.
That's exciting.
This is honestly as soon as you can, but maybe it would depend. Late spring 2021, that's how many months from now? Like 6, 7, 8.
Oh God, spring is that long away.
Let's not talk about that. We live in Buffalo, so we're gearing
when
up
is
for
your
the
spring?
winter. No. So honestly, if you start planning now, the thing about strategies and social media and planning is that there are the things called lag indicators, and there are things called lead indicators. So if you start now, you can work on your lead indicators. You can start building your base. You can start putting in the work. You could start thinking about your strategy. You can start all of that kind of stuff so that when it's time to open, you've already done like the hard stuff. And when you're kind of flipping a little bit more of your energy on to the actual opening of your brewery, if you start now, you'll have everything in place that you'll like have already hit the ground running, and you'll be able to run with your social media. You already have that customer base built up.
Short answer, now.
Short answer, now. Long answer, everything I said.
But honestly, that reminds me of a good point too, is a lot of people have asked, like, when do we start planning for winter? Yesterday or today,
last month.
But honestly, a lot of breweries have talked about how they're winterizing their tap room and like super cool ideas with heaters and like, what did I hear about? Like winter festivals, like that kind of stuff. And that's awesome. But don't forget to winterize your marketing strategy.
Yes. We talked a little bit about that. You talked about that in a video in our group.
I did.
So
yes.
If you want to know more about winterizing your strategy, you can join our group too. All right. Oh, and Kaylee also agrees. They started theirs 2.5 years before opening. Boom. I bet you hit the ground running, Kaylee.
Good for you.
All right. So it looks like that's all with the questions. Again, if you're catching us on the replay and you have a question, pop it in the chat and Morgan will answer it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Where is my X to exit out of this? Is it behind this?
I think it's behind that.
Let's stop sharing the screen. Awesome. All right, guys. It was great talking to you. Let us know if you have any more questions. And is it the weekend yet? It's my weekend.
It's your
Happy
weekend.
my weekend.
Or Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.